humbled by that title. I don't know that I'm one of the. I guess I'm one of the guys that kind of stirs the pot.
Okay, I'll take that as a yes. So you work with an organization, Watchdog Wire. Well, we've renamed you.
What am I named now?
Here's your new name, Watchdog Swire.
Ah.
How's that?
I actually like it.
You need to put that on your business cards.
WatchdogSwire.com.
Watchdog Swire. Contact Watchdog Swire at Watchdog Wire. All right, can you do that?
I might start my own website with that.
There you go, man. No, I already secured the URL. You have to pay me a
Royalties,
boatload of
right.
money. You put up a post the other day on Watchdog Wire, the Obama Doctrine on Terrorism and Analysis. I thought it was fascinating, and the thesis of it is simply that President Obama promotes, proclaims, and touts his exceptional capability as commander-in-chief to decimate Al-Qaeda, AQ, and then the rest of the day he's collaborating, assisting, and helping develop the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a fathering organization to Al-Qaeda. And it's almost a schizophrenic national security philosophy in D.C. What are your thoughts on how this could be and what it means for the average guy in the street?
Well, I think the practical application of the Obama Doctrine is dangerous not only for us in the homeland, but, of course, for our men and women serving overseas, whether they're in the foreign service or in our military. What's interesting is the doctrine is based on a study group's report calling for a strategy to counter violent extremism. Now that's fine because if you want to talk about violent extremism, you want to redefine it more broadly than just terrorism. That probably makes some sense. But the problem is the panel of 20 people that came up with the Countering Violent Extremism document and recommendations and findings, 11 of the 20 are Islamists, which is problematic to begin with, because in the doctrine, it works very hard not to blame Islam for the violence we see on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, as you and I discussed, we have reached a milestone in terms of Islamic deaths. We have gone over 20,000 people killed by Islamists around the world. That works out to about 1,500 a year or 5 a day. So it's sort of impossible to call Islam a religion of peace when 5 times every day someone dies at the hands of someone who absolutely is loyally following the Quran. But the Obama Doctrine is to give those a pass. It's to give organizations like the Muslim Brotherhood, which you pointed out, actually created or birthed Al-Qaeda and Hamas. It gives those kinds of organizations a pass. It's sort of like saying, well, we're going to give Adolf Hitler a pass, but we're going to kind of pick on the bunt here in America. It doesn't make any sense. And what's worse is it puts our people in danger and literally handcuffs our law enforcement, whether it's the local sheriff or your local police officer, or if it's, people working in the Department of Homeland Security. If it handcuffs them in their ability to do their job. And I think that's what's problematic. We've been lucky so far to avoid terrorist attacks. We just had last week 2 brothers, 2 young men who literally are from Pakistan. They are naturalized citizens. They live in Florida. And they were indicted in Florida last week for plotting to carry out a terrorist attack using a weapon of mass destruction at an undisclosed location. So these are very serious situations, yet the Obama doctrine is forcing people who teach about how these two young men can become radicalized. They are forcing our law enforcement not to listen to the experts. And those experts include many people you and I know.
Well, Rich, I just wanted to highlight one thing that you were saying. I just thought it's a fascinating figure, and it's pretty amazing. He said a little less than every 5 hours, someone somewhere around the world, a Muslim is carrying out a fatal jihadist attack. That's a pretty astounding number once you think about it. And you ask most people the last jihadist attack they recall, they don't think of, but they don't think of the numbers that they're killing all over the world in this name. It's pretty amazing.
Hey, and Rich, this is Tom here. We got to set the stage for the audience, and you're going to be with us for a few minutes. So if anybody wants to ask a question of Dr. Rich Swire, Watchdog Swire. He's a citizen journalist in his third career here, doing this kind of investigative reporting and
outstanding work.
He's written thousands of articles. His first career, he spent 24 years in the United States Army, retired as a lieutenant colonel who, with a background, a decorated combat vet in Vietnam. I've seen his Bronze Stars hanging on his wall. And then a business career after that, academic career, did a doctorate in education. You went to the same school as one of the key world figures. You know that, Rich?
Yes, I do. University of Southern California.
Yeah,
one of your buddies. Yeah.
Out there.
Morsi was there 78 to 82. The president of Egypt was in Los Angeles, lived there, had 2 kids in Los Angeles, went to University of Southern California, where Dr. Rich Swire went to, did his doctorate there.
What year did you do your doctorate?
He was later.
I got mine. I got mine in 1990. I was actually in the first degree in 1990. So I missed Morsi. Maybe if I would have gotten a hold of him earlier, I could have
been buds. Yeah, you could have been buds.
Explaining his palace in Egypt.
Yeah.
Or you could have become a brother. You could have been a Muslim brother, and then with your background, that'd have been interesting. But I'm reading. You know that Morsi. I think we told you. Morsi
just said
did what?
He just said that. Yeah, he's fleeing the palace.
Yeah. Did you get any other late information? We haven't been. We're dealing with other stuff here. But let's check that, Mark. If you can find what the latest is on Morsi.
Morsi fleeing.
What architectural statue in Egypt he's hiding under right now. Rich, it's very important, and we're at 888-565-1470, 888-565-1470. Tom Trento with Mark Campbell and Dr. Rich Swire. Very important for the audience to understand what we're talking about here. We're talking about the way the United States views Islamic terrorism, Islamic jihad. And the doctrines of warfare, the classical doctrines of warfare, historically, going back to the early days, going through the later days of Sun Tzu's writings and the various generals and campaigns, Clausewitz and all these other leading thinkers on warfare. One of the fundamental principles or axioms of warfare is you have to understand the world through the enemy's eyes. You have to look and view the world, understand the world from the perspective of an Islamic jihadi. How does he understand what human nature is? How does he understand freedom? How does he define an enemy? How does he define an enemy state? What is his moral guide for combat? You've got to understand the enemy so that you can construct a system of defense and defeat to be victorious. Well, if you a priori, and here's our discussion today, Rich, if you a priori, before you even start that analysis, if you exclude viewing the world through the eyes of a Muslim Brotherhood jihadi, then the doctrine that you develop that will set the precedent or the template for national security in the United States of America will be fatally flawed. And what Rich Swire is saying, and I'm going to read from Homeland Security here, Rich. This is their homepage. And Janet Napolitano has Countering Violent Extremism, the Complexity of Violent Extremism. Now, you can go anywhere on the face of the earth, or certainly in the United States, grab anybody by the back of their collar, go into any mall today, somebody shopping, grab them in the back of the collar and say, if an airplane blows up in the United States of America, which group of people do you think blew it up? What is the answer going to be?
Well, it's pretty obvious.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're going to go, oh, the Muslims blew it up. People have a guttural, a visceral, a street-level understanding that Islam has declared war on the United States. 1996, formally, Osama bin Laden did it. And they know that terrorism is one of the methodologies of Islamic jihad. So I'm going to read from Countering Violent Extremism. The threat posed by violent extremism, which in itself is a nonsensical term, but the threat posed by violent extremism is neither constrained by international borders nor limited to any single ideology. They had to get that out there fast. Groups and individuals inspired by a range of religious, political, and/or ideological beliefs have promoted and used violence against the homeland. Increasing sophisticated use of the internet, mainstream and social media, and information technology by violent extremists add to an additional layer of complexity. So they simply said, this is hard, and we can't really pinpoint who it is. It could be anybody. And you and I, Rich, know, and Mark, obviously, all of us here, that the lexicon for the USG, the United States government, does not allow the words Islamic Jihad, Muslim Brotherhood. So, Rich, you spent 24 years in the military. You retired. How does this make any sense?
Well, here's the issue, too. When I was in the military, I was responsible, when I was at the Training and Doctrine Command for the United States Army Anti-Terrorism and Terrorism Counteraction Doctrine. I also sat on a presidential committee that came up with the national policy under President Reagan that you don't negotiate with terrorists. So when you define, as the Obama doctrine does, that Al-Qaeda is the key threat, and all of those organizations, affiliates, and adherents that are represented by Al-Qaeda, then you have to include, and I'm quoting, by the way, the Obama doctrine states, quote, today as detailed in the National Security Strategy and the National Strategy for Counterterrorism, Al-Qaeda and its affiliates and adherents represent the preeminent terrorist threat to our country. Well, if you say that, then you have said that the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, are in fact affiliates and adherents. So anyone who belongs to the Brotherhood or any organization that is a front organization to the Brotherhood, and in America we have many, including the Muslim Students Association, the Council on Islamic, American Islamic Relations, the International Institute for Islamic Thought, and others. Those are in fact defined by the Obama doctrine as those groups that are in fact affiliates and adherents.
Yep.
Now, what the problem is when it's applied, they use the overriding ideal that you can't blame everybody for the actions of a few. Well, guess what? We did that in World War II. We, of course, punished the many for the actions of the very few, those that were leading the Nazi Party. We did the same thing with communism. That was my job for 23 years, is to fight communism. And, of course, only 3 or 4% of all those in the Soviet Union were communists. But you know what? They controlled the weapons, the police, the financial system, the legal system, and just as the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda and Hamas, all, when they gain control, they control all of those instruments of public policy. And when you control those instruments of public policy, you control the people. You control the other 99%, if you will, or 97%.
Absolutely.
So that's the problem. But the doctrine itself is oxymoronic, if you will.
Yes, it is. But if you want a website, Rich, you can go to Tim Saletti at TLS Solutions, and he's not oxymoronic. He is, I was going to say just moronic, but I know he's not.
And also his associated website at teapartycommunity.com, Tea Party Community, where you can sign up, log on, and join.
Oh, yeah, they have that now going on?
They have that now going, and actually we're going to be, here's a news flash for you,
Uh-oh,
Tom,
newsflash,
is that in conjunction with Tim Saletti and a Tea Party Community, it's like a Facebook site. It's not like just a regular website. It's a Facebook Tea Party community site. They have over 20,000 members
20,000?
Right now, and it's actually grown from in the last 4 months from 4,000 to 20,000. So it's actually taking off after the Obama election. And
we're going to be breaking into it from what I gather.
Yeah.
Good.
So he's so we'll be working with him and. Go ahead.
That's teapartytribune.com and Tea Party Community.
teapartycommunity.com. It's like a Facebook site. It looks look and feel is just like a Facebook site.
People can go there.
We'll be promoting this more in the future.
Okay. Well, that's Tim Saletti. He's one of our good friends and sponsors here, and Rich, you know him. Mark, you had a question or something for Rich?
Yeah. No, I just had an update.
Oh, what is it?
On the, I didn't realize until reading this is how many people were actually storming the palace. It wasn't just like a handful of
It's thousands, I know.
No, it's 100,000.
No, it can't be.
That's what they're reporting here on Fox and the other people.
Wow.
100,000 people stormed the palace, while 200,000 were are still in Tahrir Square, and another 10,000 are in actually Alexandria doing the thing. Now, here's the interesting part about this: this is something that didn't see before. So I think what the left did when they created the Muslim Brotherhood movement in Egypt to overthrow Mubarak, they might have actually created something they didn't intend to create, is that a lot of these people are outside of the 100,000, 200,000 people rather protesting are chanting freedom or die.
Man,
let me say something about that, because I think Mark has a good point. This is a second bite at the apple for President Obama.
Yep.
I said that the Arab Spring would have taken a totally different route had President Obama come out and supported the Green movement after in Iran, after the some say fraudulent election or re-election of Ahmadinejad to the presidency.
Well,
he basically said we shouldn't get involved, and of course that gave a clear signal to the mullahs and Ahmadinejad to do whatever they needed to do, including, of course, we saw the tragedy of a young woman shot and dying on camera. And so the movement was literally beaten down with the clubs of the Islamists. Now he's got a second bite at the apple. He's got people in Egypt who said, not only do we not want Mubarak, we don't want the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right.
This is his opportunity to support the people in the street. That's the communities that he talks about in his doctrine. He said we need to engage, quote, engage with Muslim communities around the world.
And exactly. Now, let's see how the
And
mainstream.
and he has a perfect opportunity to stand up with the people in Tahrir Square and those storming the presidential palace and say, you know what, America is with you. And I don't hear that coming out of anybody. And maybe I'm wrong. Tom, am I missing something?
That's a very salient. Yeah, it's a very salient point, Rich. But here's another point too: is that where is the mainstream media going to side on this? Are they going to go with the Brotherhood, or are they going to side with the new freedom movement? Which what they told us was the first movement was the freedom movement, and now where it appears it has the auspices or the appearance of being a freedom movement, will they side with the people? Mike, what do you have what's it look like in Tahrir
I
Square?
think that it's important.
I'm trying to figure out if this is if this
Are you there?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to pull up images of Tahrir Square right now for everybody to see, and there's supposed to be
I think it's important. It's not a matter of the media siding with somebody. I think that's the wrong question. I think what the media needs to do is tell the truth about what's going on in Egypt. And they need to report accurately the kinds of numbers and interview the people that have been literally storming the walls of the presidential palace, chasing out Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, that's what they need to do. Taking sides is not the issue. What I am concerned about is that we're not going to get an accurate portrayal of what's going on for several reasons. One, Western journalists have a tendency, particularly if you're female, to get raped and beaten up.
yeah, that's Laura Logan, right?
And those probably, the women are some of the most brave people, not only our female journalists, but the women who are standing up with this movement. My heart goes out to them because they are truly leading. They're leading a true freedom movement, and the president doesn't get behind this and come out strongly in support of those people, and then if he signals to Morsi in any way that do what you got to do to stay in power, or stay silent, openly silent, no matter what he says behind the scenes,
Right.
we're going to see bloodshed, dramatic bloodshed, and it can spread throughout the Middle East. And
Well,
this is something that I think we don't need to have happen.
This is very
We need to
complicated.
get behind these people that are truly looking for,
No.
and really what they're looking for is to be released from the reins of government.
Yeah, but
I don't like what we see here in America right now.
here's the problem, Rich. This is extremely serious.
Oh, this is going to be a bloodbath here.
It's gonna-
This is going to be a total bloodbath.
It's going to have to be, because right now there's two issues in Egypt that in a crisis management situation, hopefully in the Situation Room in Washington, they know this stuff. There's the demographics of the country, 80 million people. The majority, by a huge portion, support Morsi. They are Sharia compliant. They want Islam. They want Sharia as the constitution, and they're spread out all over the country. And many of the supporters of the Brotherhood are in the outlying areas, not in the urban cities. Like any urban city, the academics, the intellectuals, the socialists, the leftists, the communists, they're in the big cities. So Tahrir Square is in the center of the big city, Cairo, so you're going to get a majority of the people that don't like Morsi, but the majority of the people at Tahrir Square. But the majority of the citizens want the Brotherhood, number one. All of that is irrelevant. The issue is which side is the military going to fall on?
Right.
And as of right now, he being Morsi, has successfully commandeered control of the military. He's taken Mubarak's key leaders out. who were secularists, and he put in brotherhood-friendly people in charge of the military. Now, when we say in charge of the military, this is not a banana republic with 2,000 people.
I mean, it's serious. Tanks, weapons, and everything.
This is a huge military. So there may be some command and control Muslim brothers here, but the ones that are Mubarak supporters are in the wings. And if there's a coup d'etat for them to gain control of the military,
right,
then it's going to shift back to a military dictatorship by, I don't know who's going to pop up, but these kids in Tahrir Square, these are the Google kids, the Google generation.
These are the ones I got the feeling that the reporters were actually talking about, and they were hoping that would happen. Now that it's actually looks like it is happening, and actually Mike should have images of Tahrir Square right now up there and pull it up. And this is but it's going to be a bloodbath. There's no way else to go about this.
No, Mike, you got video up? I don't have the monitor on. But for the viewers watching at home, this is Tom Trento on TrentoVision.tv.
Go ahead and pull it up.
You're looking at, what are they looking at? Somebody describe it.
It's hundreds of thousands of people. Bring up a little bit of the audio there, Mike, and let them listen to what's going on.
It's almost midnight, too.
Yeah, they're all riled up and fired up down there, and it's becoming quite chaotic. So this is not going to end well. Something is going to happen here within the next week or so.
Yeah, the big question. Hang on, I'm pulling something up here. That's midnight. It's
yeah, and I'm saying this is midnight. They're still riled up at midnight, and this is now wait till this Friday happens, and during Juma prayer.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here in Tahrir Square right now, you can just bring that down, the audio down a little bit.
Yeah.
What happens in these sort of situations, it's the gang mentality.
They're getting more emboldened.
Over the weekend, there were about 100 people. I was watching it.
Uh-huh.
Now there's 200,000.
Right.
All right. As they got strengthened, the true believers came out. But then there's a lot of people just hanging out in there because it's a big part trying to pick up girls, probably,
right.
You know. So I wouldn't look at this as a movement yet that can crush the brotherhood. Rich, what do you think? You've been in these kind of meetings. What do you think Morsi right now? He had a runaway. Now this is a guy that a week ago was literally walking on water. He walked across. I don't know if you know this, Rich, but we have video. When he left having shawarma in
Hillary,
in Tel Aviv with Hillary, he walked through the desert and then he walked over the Red Sea, went into Egypt, and declared himself Pharaoh. Pharaoh just had to
had to lead the castle.
Yeah, he put his tail between his legs.
He had to lead the pyramid.
He had to leave the pyramid. You're Morsi now. You got your cronies. You're in your room. You know, the AKs are out. What's Morsi thinking right now, Rich?
Well, he's obviously looking for allies that he can count on.
Obama, where are you?
Hey,
Brock. And that may be the ally, maybe in the White House.
Well, he's taken on a vacation in Hawaii. He might be unavailable.
Here's the issue. You know, the allies locally, I mean, obviously he's going to be, you pointed out the military. Historically in the Middle East, the military, wherever it sides, no matter whether it's in Tunisia or Libya or Syria,
right.
If the military starts going over to the other side, then you got a serious problem. The question is has he had enough time to put people in power, not only in senior leadership positions?
Right.
You know, it's one thing to put generals in power,
right.
And you know the chairman of the Egyptian Joint Chiefs and the head of their Air Force and the head of their Army. It's another thing for brigade commanders. The guys who run the show is a brigade commander. I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy that keeps the neighborhood safe. And if he loses those people and they switch over to the movement, they got all the guns, they got the tanks. They're going to do what they got to do, and they'll put themselves in power.
And
that's the danger. Is will the military put itself back in power because of all this turmoil? Because the people want stability. They're screaming for stability. And stability not only means lack of violence, but also lack of getting of the government on their back. And
well, here's the other wild card too, Rich. Here's the other wild card too, is the economy of Egypt is in the complete toilet.
Shambles.
It's total shambles.
$2 a day.
They're living on $2 a day. Nobody's. A lot of it coming off of tourism, which is non-existent now. And
the Trento Vision will be leading a tour to Egypt starting tomorrow.
Pyramids. But the economy is a complete shambles. The Muslim Brotherhood historically has run, little organizations here, little organization here, but they're completely ill-equipped to run a country, and now all of a sudden they're in power and they don't know how to do anything. And Morsi at the helm of it is floundering. I mean, he's declaring himself pharaoh, and so the people are looking and says, look, I have no job, I have no food, I have no economy, there's no hope for an economy, and we got this radical who just declared himself pharaoh. No wonder the people are getting upset.
well, it's worse than that. A good friend of mine, Mordecai Kadar, who I think hopefully you're going to have on your show sometime in the near future, actually showed when he was here in Sarasota, showed pictures of the living conditions.
Oh, yeah.
And they're horrible. I mean, they're horrible.
People, third world stuff.
People are worse than third world. This is worse than third world. We're talking literally paper shacks
Yes.
about the size of the office I'm sitting in, housing 8 or 10 or 12 people.
Good point.
The water is not purified. They go down, they drink out of the same water that they do everything else in. They come back with all kinds of stomach parasites. So in order to kill the parasites, they drink. So because that's cheaper to drink. And they're literally living in these shanty towns by the hundreds of thousands. And mothers and fathers are on a daily basis deciding which child they're not going to feed and allow that child to die because they don't have enough money to feed them.
Right.
That's what's happening in Egypt. It is a sad situation. And for this president to not stand up with these people is just not only wrong, it's immoral. It's not American.
Well, like you said, it's Iran all over again.
Like I say, he's got a second bite at the apple,
Yep.
and he's just refusing to bite the apple. And it makes no sense. He should be coming out and saying, we're with you. You know, we don't want to see a totalitarian regime.
Well, Rich, here's
speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
here's how it makes sense. The way it makes sense, and we're going to have to let you go here in about a minute. The way it makes sense is that the academic preparation of Barack Hussein, don't forget the Hussein part, Barack Hussein Obama, the academic preparation, the mentoring, all of it has been pro-Islamic. And then in his administration years, presidential years,
Brotherhood Islamic, pro-brotherhood Islamic. Make that distinction.
Well, no. I was getting to that. Through the years, in his senatorial years in Chicago, still Islamic. Once he got into the White House, the agents of influence that had been working on him, then he was totally prepared for the infiltration of the Brotherhood in at a policy level. Mm-hmm. So the brothers have worked him over to the point where he believes that they are the ones that can stabilize the Middle East. And right now, his chief advisors on how to handle Morsi are Muslim brothers. So
and that's what I point out in my column. The people who created the Obama doctrine are
brothers.
Members of the Brotherhood.
So he's not gonna. He's pooping in his pants right now, the president, going, what am I going to do? I can't stand here forever. You know, but the guy that just saved Israel and us and all that. All right, we're going to have to continue this the next, at another time. There, our good friend, Dr. Watchdog Schweier. Dr. Watchdog Schweier. We appreciate you coming on the Trento Vision Show with Mark and myself.
Well, anytime, and we love you. By the way, the Franklin Center for Government and Public Integrity loves you because you're a man of great integrity. You and Mark and CJ and Mike and Michael, all the people that you're associated with are people of great integrity, and you tell the truth, and sometimes at your own risk. So we applaud what you do.
Well, you too, Rich. You too, Rich. I mean, we've worked with you many times in the past, and you're right there next to us. And
All right, well, have a great weekend.
We can't give you enough compliments, Rich.
All right. Rich, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
We'll see you. Bye.
This is Tom Trento. This is hour 2. We're coming to a close on hour 2. We're going to keep our eyes on Egypt. And then Mark has a fascinating material on what Syria may do with their chemical weapons and how that will affect your day.
It'll keep you up at night.
But right now, we're taking a little break.